Let's do introductions. Hey guys. So I'm Chiedza. I'm part of ASPA and Expose.
I'm Amira. I'm part of multiple things, but today I'm just part of Expose.
Period. And today we're going to be talking about the Black Renaissance. Okay.
I wish we had the sound effect where you could just go or when they do the explosion sound where it's like boom after you said it. Edit that in post.
Oh my god.
In post, edit that. Come on, get on.
Whoever's editing that, is that me later? Edit that in. Right, so what is the Black Renaissance? I wish I could pull up a definition right now, but I'm just going to define it based off my own terms. It is the new rise in Black people in fashion through creative directors, through models, through brands, through modeling in different places in Africa, etc. It is the blossoming of Black culture in fashion, presumably.
Yeah, I would say, honestly, because I'm doing a class right now that's called African American Odyssey. And so we're talking about how in the late 70s to 90s, there was a massive rise in Black art becoming mainstream. And how, especially in the US, and how the commodification of Blackness, because you had this image of Black people where it was either rags to riches, drug dealer coming into becoming a rapper, and then you have the Naomi Campbells and stuff of the world where it's you came from nothing and then because you're so beautiful and slim and gorgeous. No hate to white people.
That's not what we're saying. Listen.
Yeah.
Before we continue. This is not anti-white. That's not what we're saying here. We're having
not at all.
A discussion.
Yeah. We love our white people. Affirmative action, all of that.
I like pasta and lobster.
Bye!
So that's not it at all. What we're trying to talk about is, okay.
I'm about to stress the world.
Basically, we're just kind of going to talk about, we're having this rise in Blackness, in the representation of Africans, and the representation of that type of thing in fashion. But, who are those figures exactly? Who are we talking about? What are we referring to? I think the first thing that comes to mind for most people are the models. We got Akon Chanko over here. Icon. Love her. Anoki Yai, Aduda Ketch, all these South Sudanese models that, have the same sort of rags to riches story. It's they came from a refugee camp, or they were at, they were in a lower class Black home where they transitioned from med school dreams to then suddenly wanting to do modeling because they got casted one day by this one brand or whatever. Actually the first thing that comes to mind for me is Anoki Yai's story. Yeah, so her family moved from South Sudan to Egypt, and then from Egypt to the States, right? Seeking asylum, etc. She grew up in America, attended an HBCU called Plymouth State University, and she was caught by a photographer when she was at Howard's homecoming.
Oh yeah!
It's her.
Oh my god, yeah. I don't know if you're not on Black Twitter, I want to say 2016-ish, around that time.
2018, 2017.
Yeah, around that era of Twitter. Basically, there was this picture of this girl with really beautiful hair and really striking features, very very dark skin, that went viral.
Oh, it made rounds.
Yeah, it went everywhere. And now fast forward to what are we in 2023, about to enter 2024, and she's one of the biggest supermodels.
The biggest.
Of, let alone our generation.
She is.
If there's one person in this world who is booked and busy, her. Anoki Yai and Alton Mason. Those are the two Black people in fashion that are always booked and busy. You cannot blink, open your eyes without seeing them in a new campaign. It's crazy.
Absolutely. Alton Mason on that note is absolutely his walk. He's bringing every male model to shame. That D squared SS24.
Bro, put Alton Mason in a fur coat. Give him some high heeled boots.
Tell him to strut
down. Tell him to whip out his titties, and he's gonna be. It's crazy.
He is served looks. Okay, because there are some models who look good but don't serve looks, but he serves looks. I feel actually before we continue on to that, because I do have a note about nepo babies and that sort of discussion, and we will get to that in a second. When we talk about Anoki Yai, how famous she got, how viral her life story is, no one ever talks about just exactly what she went through prior to this, right? Oh, thank you very much. What she went through prior to, getting into this career, right? She first opened for YSL, if I'm not mistaken, right? She went for a casting.
But I swear, like, I don't know if I'm thinking of the wrong black model, because apparently they only pick the same ones from the same refugee camp. So
actually, they all of the models that we're talking about today, Akon Chaku, Nakiai, Alek Wek, Aduda Ketch, they all come from this one refugee camp in Kenya. It's called Kakuma Refugee Camp, and it's actually kind of creepy, the story that comes from that. Basically, this refugee camp is filled way over capacity. There's 58,000 people. How do you fit 58,000 more people in a full refugee camp? I don't understand how that's possible. It's where most of the models that we talk about hail from. It's rife with human rights abuses, with LGBTQ abuses and hate crimes, regional conflicts, infighting, etc. And so what happens is these agencies come to these refugee camps. They cherry pick people who they think, would look really good on a campaign. They let them run one fashion week. Maybe they get to do 10 shows. And then they give them the hope or the idea that they'll become something more than just that one season, that one hit wonder. And then they literally do nothing with that and send them back to refugee camp, and then they're just left to sit there.
And then also what they do is that they basically kind of give them like a subsidy for like their flights, their accommodation, all of that. So they'll give them like a couple hundred and say, make do with this what you will. Mm-hmm. And then the whole point is that they have to pay it back at the end. It's not like it's just here, we believe in you, so we're going to give you this money. It's like you have to pay it back through your work. And if you don't work enough and if you don't make enough money, you will be sent back and you'll be in debt on top of all of it. So you basically just started what you think as your new life in debt, being exploited and being used because your facial features have now become a fashion trend. Exactly. It's just like the commodification of black bodies, like in general.
We see what happens. They're all, South Sudanese, successful, come from a warring country, and they rise. However, people don't talk about the fact that they didn't get casted in Kikuyu refugee camp. No, they got asylum in a first world country, Australia for Aduda Ketch, the States for Nakiai, etc. I think Alekwek was cast in the UK. Akon Changu, also Australia, right? And it's just like, these people, yes, obviously it's not like they're extremely rich or anything, but they're not in the dire socioeconomic, straits that most models who are getting cast at these camps are in. And it's exploitative. It's inherently exploitative to give these people the dream or the idea that, you can be something and you can change your life in like one season, because that's not how it's like for any of these models either. There was a period of time after their fashion weeks where they would get no work. Anokia actually talked about this. There were times where she would be struggling and her agency would be like, you are the new face. You better act like you're more rich than you are. We don't know how you're going to do that, but you have to figure it out. So there was years of her having to fight and act like she's richer than she is when she's secretly struggling, only for her to finally then establish herself just recently, really.
Like, segueing off of that, I think it would also be really interesting to talk about representation and why it's so important for us as young black women to see black faces. Mm-hmm. And also, this just popped into my head whilst you were speaking. I want to say it before I forget, and we can come back to it later.
Absolutely.
But I was thinking about the fact that when you see plus size models, name me one fully black, not half, not a quarter, not Afro-Latina, fully black, dark skin, plus size model. I'll wait. Just add like the tick tock,
the cricket noises.
Yeah,
absolutely. It's and if they are there, it's people who adhere to Western standards. Precious Lee, for instance, is the first person I think of. She's got a very she's gorgeous. She's a beautiful plus size model, right? But she's got like very Eurocentric features. I have not seen anyone else who's a person of color, who's plus size, really rise to prominence the way that she has. And even then, it's like, it's exclusive to specific shows. Like, one of those things where there's representation, sure, but you have to be either light skinned or extremely dark, like South Sudanese, like very beautiful, almost maroon colored skin, extremely skinny, you know, almost otherworldly looking. If you are someone who wants to be a model who's African and you aren't either of those, then
it feels like there's no room for like different subsects and shades, because when you think about it, when you look at white models, like there's the whole rise of like the indie kind of old-fashioned girly now. I'm like definitely privileged in the fact that I grew up with people who looked like me. I grew up in an environment where I was not the minority, I was the majority. I looked like everybody else. But for the black girls living in the UK, living in America, living in all these parts of the world that don't have representation like that, representation is so freaking important.
It's
like
crucial.
Like we've been saying this from the dawn of time. You can't just give us the same skinny ones. I want to see like all ranges of size. I want to see the mid-size girlies. I want to see the big girlies. It's not every day just Lizzo. It's like it's not every day, bro. Like you it's like you're either like hella skinny
or you're
really, really big. Not saying that Lizzo isn't beautiful or anything.
Like, no hate to Lizzo.
Yeah, like literally.
Well, I don't know. She got cancelled though. Like,
I mean, bro, we don't have the time. Like, our time is running out, guys. We're being silenced. It's kind of like you either are hella skinny or you're extremely fat. And if you're extremely fat, you're not allowed to just be fat. You have to be fat where your boobs are huge, your ass is
your waist is skinny though.
Yeah,
remember that.
Yeah, your waist has to be skinny too, because when you're fat, obviously that removes the fat from your stomach and puts it all in your ass.
Absolutely.
That's the only way that you can look being fat and attractive. And it's not even like I say fat as in like plus size, because you could be like, oh, I'm a bit fat, but you're like a size 10 or something. You know what I mean? It's just being bigger than a 0. You know, that's what I'm trying to say. Like,
exactly.
it's not all the time that you have to be super duper huge or super duper skinny. Like, we need nuance in terms of what we see, who we are making famous, what we represent, all of that.
Yeah, absolutely. And on top of that, actually, on that note, when models do go on the runway and they are able to represent themselves, so many designers do the craziest things to these models' hair, to their clothes, to their skin.
Speak on it.
To their makeup.
Mm-hmm.
It's ridiculous. Okay, one moment that comes to mind immediately, it's Alec Weck. She's on the runway. She has a blonde wig on, right? And you can see her get like visibly annoyed by the fact that she has to put this blonde wig that doesn't suit her face, that doesn't suit her at all. She takes off the wig while she's walking down the runway, chucks the wig away, and then keeps walking down it, right? And her she has a buzz cut at that time, you know, and has her short buzz cut, and she's walking down the runway and looks significantly better that way. It made rounds on the news. They were like, who does she think she is? This model thinks that she can do like whatever she wants with her body, with her hair, whatever. She's like, no, I'm not gonna go down the runway with you commodifying how I look like. I'm not going to pretend like I'm something that I'm not. I'm not going to pretend like I have this hair when I don't. You know? I'm going to take this off because this is my hair. This is me.
There's a difference between putting her in a blonde wig for like the aesthetic or something like that and feeling like she's being hidden, you know? Because I think a lot of times, like, for example, like the whole wig culture and all of that is just kind of a way to like accentuate your features, you know. Sometimes you want a straight middle part bust down,
like, I'm not gonna lie, sometimes I do be wanting that A1 all black, like Hime cut. Like, I understand,
like there's nothing wrong with wigs. We're just saying that I should be able to tell you I feel uncomfortable wearing this does not suit me. If you're gonna put a wig, especially when it comes to color on black people, please stop getting black models, stop getting black artists, stop getting black people in general when you don't know how to cater to their specific needs. Absolutely. For example, when it comes to styling, what clothes actually will look good on them or not. Makeup, you can't be putting a dark skin model in the same shade as me and you want to put on her. Crazy. There's so many models saying that that they have to do their own makeup on runway or at a shoot or something like that.
Like, I know Yasmin Gari is not black. She's actually, I think she's one of the first Middle Eastern models ever. She did not let a single makeup artist touch her face. No one was allowed to touch her face, right? She's one of the first supermodels, and literally she did her own makeup for every single runway. She looked stunning, but the fact that she has to do her own makeup when it's a makeup artist's job to do makeup for models before they go down a runway says a lot. Right? And the fact that that hasn't changed. She did that in the 90s. The fact that it's 2023 and there's still models who are like, oh, I do my own makeup on set because I'm not comfortable with what the makeup artist has put on me, says a lot about the industry and the fact that it hasn't changed at all. One quote that I actually got from Anak Yai, she said this in her Vogue interview. She says, she won't let anyone straighten her hair during shows. It's either cornrows, it's afros, it's a wig, or it's nothing.
Or you know what they'll be doing? They'll say you have to straighten it so that they can put it in like the finger waves thing. Because that's the only way that black people can have their natural hair. And half the time, if you're anything above us, if you're in type 4 hair, the finger waves thing is a myth.
Exactly. It doesn't work.
It doesn't exist.
And then you know what? It's not like these designers don't know what African hairstyles look like. They use them all the time. Just not on Africans. It's crazy. You know, first thing that comes to mind, Comme des Garçons, fall winter 2020. All right. We see the runway and people are walking down, not a black model in sight, obviously. And maybe two stragglers, and they have buzz cuts. All right, fine, safe enough. Right. Ignore the visage again. And there's collections, droves of white models who come down with these wigs that are like cornrow shape. I don't even know what to call this. Like,
no, it's the whole thing of culture appropriation versus appreciation. There's a difference between trying and butchering some jollof rice and like wearing kente fabric day in and day out because you went to Kenya once and you think you're part of the culture. That's not how it works. I am calling out. Sorry, that was very specific. Yeah.
Actually, this fashion designer or hairstylist or whatever said that they were inspired by Egyptian princes
with no Egyptian model on the runway. And my thing is like, there's a difference between like, oh, this cultural aspect of this point in history inspired the designs that you're making. There's a difference between it being physically on the clothes and you just turning somebody's deep-rooted history that's been completely erased by white people all throughout like the fucking passage of time to like a headpiece one day and saying, oh my god, we're being inclusive. If you're gonna put that headpiece on, why don't you get somebody who's actually Egyptian to make it for you?
Because there will be one model. There's gonna be models there waiting for you to put them on the runway. It's not like there is a not enough. There's hundreds of thousands, if not millions of people in the world who are willing and waiting and conforming to the runway, who are willing to walk down it, and no one's giving them the chance.
So I don't know if this is just like a thing in the UK, but I remember there was also, like the t-shirt from H&M with the monkey face on it.
Yeah, oh
the black little,
and then they put the black model in the monkey t-shirt.
So if in case you haven't seen this, here,
somewhere there.
Yeah. So like a few years ago there was this like thingy for H&M where it was like a black little boy modeling with a t-shirt basically saying like I'm a monkey or something.
Like a silly little monkey.
Yeah,
and I was
like silly little monkey t-shirt. And I'm like, surely this has to go through people. Surely you read this. Like, how do you see this? See the black boy,
like,
see the monkey,
right.
and be like, oh my god, that's so cute.
It's not, it's very Uncle Tom. Like actually the first, on that note, this is a little monkey note, first thing that I think of, Dolce & Gabbana, spring 2013. Everyone who has ever watched fashion or has been into fashion in their life knows about this. The models walk down the runway. Not a single black one, obviously. It's Dolce. And here's a photo of this model. It's a white model. She's walking down. There's some very interesting earrings on her. Who did this run through? Who possibly made this and thought, yeah, like, there's not an ounce of appreciation of black beauty in these earrings. It's not. It's got the it's got the red lips, all right? It's got the unusually dark skin men with no signs of paler parts where they are. Listen, black people have not like less melanin in certain areas of their body, right? Like, it's possible. And it's just like, it's got like the headdress with all the birds and the little, like, it feels like a caricature. It is a caricature.
Let me ask you this. As a young black woman who is very interested, very knowledgeable, very well-versed, very politically engaged in fashion, especially as a dark-skinned young black woman who is African, not even just black American, African, what would you like in like an ideal world on, like, for example, fall 2024? What would you like to see on the runway? Tell me. Tell the people.
First of all, if we're going to be including black people on the runway, have everyone, honestly, even like, if we have to have color on the runway. I
was actually thinking about this. One like high fashion house that actually does this and does it well, like does representation well, Mugler.
Oh, hell yeah.
People in high fashion, take note. If you want to see somebody do inclusivity and do it well, Mugler, my God, those bodysuits were everywhere. And you want to know why? Because every single body type, every single gender identity could be seen on their runway. They said, y'all want to buy this? We want to make some money. You want to see yourselves? Have it. Here we go.
Every age, every size, and it's the fact that they still make them look glamorous. They still make them look unreachable. That's what it's meant to be. That's what high fashion's all about.
There was nobody in lockdown who was doing those virtual runways that was doing it like Mugler.
On that note of what you're asking me, my answer to that is that I want glamour on the runway, all right? Everyone has to look glamorous.
That's what I'm saying.
Everyone.
You can't just be white and skinny. You have to have a little something, something.
Exactly.
Glamour.
Yeah.
Black people and glamour. That's what we were looking for. Yeah.
And it's just, we just want fashion, all right? And it's like, if you can
fashion with the U.
And that is not, fashion is not a size. It's not a color.
Yes.
It's not a height or an age. That's not what that is. I want to look at every single person on that runway and be like, man, I would kill to be that cool. Not look like that. Not, be that skinny or be that tall. I would kill to be that cool. That's what I want to feel like when someone's walking down a runway, right?
Please stop putting black people there just because, like, they're popular now. Please put black people there that can walk, that
Facts.
look good, that know what they're doing. And I don't just want to see one black person, one brown person, then one, I don't know, like non-binary, non-gender affirming person. That's not what we want. We want, when you're thinking of who wants to represent this item of clothing that you spent months dedicating your life to, working on, what we want to see is somebody who represents that, somebody who embodies your brand, your image, your voice on the runway. It's not about, oh, we're trying to see more black people. Yeah, we are trying to see that, but we're trying to see in high fashion people who represent the clothes. It's not always just because somebody is popular and pretty and beautiful that you should put them onto the runway. Because trust me, put somebody who's not that well known, that has the attitude, that has the confidence, that has the walk to represent that outfit and make it look like they made it themselves. That will be just as popular, if not more, than putting Kendall Jenner on the runway.
Actually, side note, the most recent Mason Margiela show. Do you remember that one? There was this one woman who was walking down I'll put it here. There was this one woman walking down the runway. I forget her name. She made rounds. Oh my God. That was one of the best walks that I've ever seen for a fashion show in my entire life. And no one knows who she is. And will she get booked for another job? Yeah, who knows? Right? But it's like, people enjoy that. They like not having to see the same face over and over again. Surely you can make room in the sea of Nepo babies to find some other person. Which, on that note, actually, great segue, Chietza, my God. There's a lot of Nepo babies. We know this, right? Every single model who has a daughter has slapped their daughter on the runway. They're unavoidable, right? Why is that white?
First of all, also, I think like in answering that question, I think genuinely one of the main reasons is that like black people becoming like really rich and popular and well known did not start happening until like the 90s and stuff. So their children aren't old enough to what's it called again? Their children are old enough to be on the runway. B, their children are most likely their like parents are musicians, so like they're trying to subscribe to that kind of notion.
Oh, and C, the models who then come into prominence are too busy working their asses off to establish themselves to even have the opportunity to get married, to have kids, to have this entire, thing happen to them. They have had to fight for their lives from day one for themselves.
Like, look at Naomi Campbell. Like,
working to the bone.
How old is she now? 50 something?
50,
I swear she just had a baby, like her first child.
Yeah.
Like, no wonder that we have no Nepo babies. We're not allowed to just take a day off and then go get married. Why are two students at a political science university telling big corporate brands, please, just get people who can actually model.
Just put people who can walk on the runway, please.
Yes, please. When I see someone walk, I want to hear a pin drop, and the only thing I want to be hearing is the clickety clack clack clock of their heels. Period. I want to see the stiletto dig into the floor and rise back up.
Those hips should be moving, motion like the
We want to see hips.
All right.
Honestly.
And, I think part of it also is the creative direction asked of by designers. I think there's specific designers who, bring that out. And I've found that there's a lack of POC designers who are trying to actively reach out to that. And I think it's less because of there being a lack of prominent or a lack of people who want to be on that stage, and rather than... Or I think instead it's a lack of opportunity for, creative directors and designers who are people of color, who are looking for glamour, who are looking for this sort of excellence to have a stage to do so. There's 4, 5 creative directors that I think of only in terms of, being black and being a creative director who's on the big stage.
And why are they all into music or started in music or musicians?
Virgil Abloh,
Pharrell Williams. Yep. Like, it's like you have to be famous for something else, and then people will start taking you seriously, and then you can enter the fashion industry. And
the only ones that I have seen who have gone there are faced with extreme critique. Olivier Rousteing, right? He's for Balmain. The designer for Balmain since 2011, but honestly, since like 2017, I haven't heard anything.
I haven't heard or seen him since. And like also to be able to like justify their presence in there, they have to really conform to white people's standards.
Absolutely. Like that's a code switch.
Yeah, thank you. You do. You have to behave the way that they behave. You have to speak the way that they speak. You have to act the way that they act. And if you don't, you're seen as weird, or you're doing too much, or you're too ghetto, or you're too black,
or you're seen as not luxury. Laquan Smith. First one that I think of, right?
Like, his name is even Laquan. Like,
love that for him. But the way that everybody just denounces the fact that he is high fashion, his model stuff is high fashion. He's done stuff for New York Fashion Week since I don't know, a while. Like, he's been at it. His clothes are luxury. His ambassadors are famous, but then people still don't count him as luxury. Why? Why is that? Who else are they? Telfar.
I love me a good Telfeezy.
I love me a Telfeezy.
Bro, I'm waiting to buy a Telfar bag because I don't know why.
Desperate. I want it so bad. I want a little shopper so bad.
No, I want like that like the medium-sized like book bag. Take it with me on the airport. Take it with me to the office. Yes. I feel like I'm going to get that for myself at like graduation. I feel like getting a Telfar bag, it can't just be like, oh, that looks pretty, let me get it. It's like a rite of black passage.
Yes.
It's like when you get a Telfar bag, you're saying that you're young, you're grown, you're sexy, you're a real educated, well-versed individual, because the Telfeezy is not easy to find.
It is not.
You have to know a guy that knows a guy that knows a guy, and it's gonna
who knows a dealer, who knows an assistant who can get you a Telfeezy.
Yeah, and if you try and get it when it drops, good luck to you, brother. Good luck.
It's over. It's not possible
at all.
That but then the fact that it's like they have to be then resigned to this idea of black fashion when it's like, this is just fashion. This is black excellence in fashion. Everyone should want this bag. Everyone should want this designer. Everyone should want these clothes. Why is it that they're then restricted to being this new luxury that's very color specific? It's annoying because it's like their clothes are good. You know, Telfar did a collab with the team Ghana for the Olympics. Guys, that line.
Have you seen that UGG collaboration?
There?
UGG collaboration.
Yes.
Yeah.
Those shoes.
No,
yeah.
do you see the cute little furry on the inside UGG bags? Oh my god, they were so cute.
You know the down jacket bag, the one that had like the puff on the outside? Or like the moose knuckles one that had like, oh no. Oh my god, let's not. I want to Telfar back, guys. Seriously. This rant is because I really want to Telfar back.
No, I think as a community, I feel like every single black person on campus should be given a Telfar bag
for the suffering that we've been
as
through.
Reparations for having to be in this environment 24/7.
I feel like free Telfeezy.
A lot of the time when black people do talk about luxury fashion, it's just like the very rich ones, like the nouveau riche kind of vibe where they've just made money. They were like an influencer or something.
The Atlanta rich.
And
yeah,
like
absolutely.
now all the time all they wear is Diesel and Balmain.
Oh my God.
And it's just like they go into Chanel and like, oh my god, look at my little Chanel bag. That's not knowing high fashion. There's a difference between knowing high fashion and like being rich enough to buy it. You know what I mean? Like there's a difference between like being really interested in like fashion silhouettes, the way things fit on you, and just being like, oh, how many thousands is it? Where is it from? I'll buy it. And remember the epidemic of like the fucking Gucci logo t-shirts?
Oh, don't even. That was those Gucci sneakers. You know the ones. You know the logos.
those shits look
like
ugly
the most
as hell,
like,
bro.
Stickers on them.
And
like,
why are you paying like 70 to 100 for a t-shirt just with the word Gucci on it because it thinks it makes you look good? It doesn't, my love. It really doesn't. Like, you could have just bought a normal t-shirt from Uniqlo and you just need to know how to style it.
Literally.
It's about styling. It's about attitude. It's about confidence. It's about the way that you depict yourself with your clothing. It's not that, oh, because I'm wearing high-heeled boots from, what's it called again? What's like the Naked Wolf?
Naked Wolf?
Yeah.
Those are so expensive. Oh my god.
Yeah, like just because I'm wearing Naked Wolf boots and like a mini skirt doesn't make you a fashion icon. It makes you on trend.
And that's exactly it.
Yeah.
So, you know what? Thank you for listening to us rant.
Thank you so much for listening to watching my face as I react to what Chienza says.
What? Just you?
Yeah.
Bro, you have been saying way more out-of-pocket things than me.
No, I feel like I say out-of-pocket things, but I know it's not going to make the cut. Like, I know this thing's getting chat. That's why I'm chatting my shit.
Well, thank you. That was Black Renaissance. And, you know, let us know what you think. Oh, yes. Ah!
You're doing it with the wrong hand, my love.
Oh, shit.
There we go.
Ah!
This should be the thumbnail.